plastic. And my running bag, always the SPF one, so you don't get chapped lips. I'm gonna pack up, these are my favorite running hair ties. That matters a lot. And then these stocked up at the running store with some new gels, but I'm just gonna take a couple of the ones that are my favorite. I like the chocolate ones, and then these two are actually new for me, so hopefully they're not gross. The aid station should have gels, but you never know what kind they're gonna have or what flavor. So pack them. Packing more than I need. I like to do one every like 3 to 4 miles, but in case I don't like one of them, I'm just gonna pack a little bit extra. Yeah, Ivan likes to pack the bag. And then my running specific sunglasses. Those might need to go in my bag because they're not gonna fit. And then these are our numbers, so we should get these.
Which one's you? You're 180?
I'm 180. Ivan, that's not yours. So fun thing that we've learned in time is that something can fit into your calories and also still make you feel like trash. So for the last couple of months really, we've been pretty strict back on our weight loss dinner. So just lots of vegetables, lots of protein, lean protein, sort of healthy carbs, fiber-filled carbs, a lot of that. But me specifically, the last couple of days, because I've been doing such intense workouts, I actually increased my calories the last couple of days pretty drastically. Like one day, yesterday, I had some carrot cake, just full of sugar, carbs, fat, high calorie, low density. Section. Running that where shorts has failed me. That's it. That's all. Well, the first half was boring. It was terrible. It's just like a straight like running path, lots of bikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Really boring. Very flat, very straight.
Yeah. You don't really like the nature ones, you like the city stuff.
Yeah. And people were coming out fast.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that probably isn't the well, and I know from the stuff that we watch, like you don't go out fast, like with all the adrenaline or whatever.
Yeah.
I started out like a little fast for me, but not like unsustainable. Like you're going to be a little bit faster on a race day, but I didn't want to go like too fast, so a lot of people were passing me, which was like a little discouraging at first.
Yeah.
But then once I realized like people were just kind of going wild like out the get-go.
You think were those, did you see them kind of burn out later?
There was like some people who were like walking and stuff on the way back that I passed. But the first part was really boring. You basically ran one way.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're gone. Good luck out there, guys.
It hit like right like a 5K, and then you turn around and it's like the 5K back. There was an aid station at that turnaround that had water and must have been Gatorade or something, but the aid stations are pretty wild. You kind of just do what they hand you.
All right.
Yeah, well, I kind of, you know, we've volunteered at aid stations before and been on like this side of it, and it feels chaotic. But definitely running and doing it feels like even more chaotic. Well, because, you know, like one half's water, one half's Gatorade, but then you have like a whole crowd of people, so you kind of just take what they hand you.
Yeah.
You know, they just have a cup and you just grab it, and you're like, well, I'm drinking what they have. And I did gels before every aid station when I knew they were coming up, so that when I had my garbage, I'd like throw it in the garbage. And also I hate the gels, so like water to wash it down.
Yeah.
But the first half really sucked. Not like pace wise, it just was a very boring trail in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just not my favorite when they're just on those like straight running past it. I mean, there wasn't even like hills or anything. It was just like, ooh. Every now and again you get like a cool view of the river.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that was cool. And then some dude in a pickup truck on the like actual turnaround, you like cross a little street. But what I figured out was right next to that like little turnaround is where a boat ramp must be. Or like something like that, because I saw some people with like little tiny boats, you know, like little fishing boats, and the person almost ran me over was he had two like jet skis. So I was really glad once I got back to like where you were, that like starting point, that was about like right at 6 miles. Something I also was figuring out on that first little loop was whoever put their mile markers out did not put them out correctly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they would be way off. So like mile to mile, they were not like accurate, but then every now and again it would like equal out to right to what like my running app would say.
Oh.
So like for example, I think was it mile 3 to 4 was on my app was actually like 1.25 miles apart. But then like the first couple miles were like mile 1 for the sign on my app was actually like 0.8.
Oh.
But then every now and again it would just like even out. So I think at mile like 6 it evened out, even though there wasn't technically like a marker for 6. I think that was just because it was like the like where you came in, or maybe I wasn't paying attention or something.
Sure.
And then like mile 8 was wrong. I think mile 9. I hit it like right at mile 9 and maybe 11 or something.
Yeah.
And then I finished right where it should be, but they just like the markers weren't always like right where the mile like on my app would be, but then every now and again they would just like sync up. But also I guess like you can't really put like a mile marker like right in the middle of a road.
Yeah.
I guess especially on the residential or something like that.
Yeah.
The second half was a lot more fun. So the second half you go through like a little residential area, which is just sort of what I prefer running to anyway. And that got a little confusing because you kind of do like loop-de-loops like through the residential, but it's a little confusing like where you're supposed to go. And then you get back on the running trail. But this, I don't know, is still boring, that part. It's still pretty boring, but at least this one had more like going on. There was more just like random people walking. At one point you go like over an overpass over the highway. Cross some streets.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean, it was pretty boring. Almost to mile 8. Wind has picked up a lot. It's a little difficult to know where we're going, pace is holding in there pretty well. About like 8.5 to 9.5 were terrible because not like physically but like mentally, because I knew the turnabout was somewhere, because there was people that I had been kind of keeping pace with, that like at least like I could see them in my sight.
Yeah.
And they were like flipping around and coming back, so like I knew that I wasn't very far off from them, and they were flipping around, so like I knew it was somewhere. And then you hit like an aid station, so then I thought like the aid station was the turnaround, but then you actually had to go another like 0.3 miles and then turn back around. So it wasn't like physically terrible or like anything like that, but it was more like
There's a little method.
You couldn't really like juggle where you were, so to speak, or like what you were supposed to, like what was going on. The part that I didn't like about 10 to 11 was from 9 to 10 I drank too much. But once I hit 11 miles, you were sort of at least like a more exciting point of the running trail. You were sort of back over the little overpass and kind of back into residential. The second loop of the residential was even more confusing than the second or the first loop, because there were just signs for both loops and there weren't like a lot of people out there. One person in front of me got off the path for sure, so I don't know what happened with that, but I decided not to follow the people who ended up kind of going off. I followed the little cones, so my time and my mileage on my phone matched right what it should have been for the race. So I don't know where they went wrong, or if they just were doing their own thing, or if they got lost. I'm not sure. It felt like a lot of people were in front of me, because when we did like the turnaround, it felt like there was a lot of people in front of me. I really felt like I was at the back of like the fast people. I was on like the back there. I was in like a weird gap where I was behind like the fast people, like the real runners. You could tell. And then I felt like I was in front of like the slower people, or like the more casual people. At least that's what it seemed like, because then obviously when I circled back, I was seeing like the people who hadn't hit the turnaround point yet, and it seemed like I was in front of kind of like the casual, or like on the front end of the group of like the casual. It really seemed like there was 3 groups. So there was the people like in front of me who were really fast, and then I was sort of kind of clustered with off and on a group of people who were, I wouldn't say like the same pace, but you know, you'd like either catch up with each other or pass each other at different points, or if someone stopped for water, you'd kind of pass them. Maybe they pass you when you'd stop. It was just familiar faces. Maybe not exactly running the same pace, but with your stops and different things, generally going kind of the same pace. And then there was a group that were definitely like the slower people. And I felt like I was sort of in the front to middle of that sort of middle class of people. It seemed like we were the ones who were more, I wouldn't say like casual, but like we're seasoned runners, but maybe not like the fastest. Or
intermediate?
Yeah.
Were you happy with your pace then?
Yeah, I was hoping to stay under 10, and I was at 9:32 overall, like average per mile.
That's really good.
Yeah, which I was really happy about. There was a few times I was really just like running. I ran like an 8-minute mile for a couple of them, and then there was a couple stretches that were sort of uphill against the wind, which was not really the best. But once you got out of those sort of pockets, my pace was really good. I would say my average was pretty good. I was hoping to stay under 10, and I hit 9:32, so it's like 28 seconds a mile faster than I was hoping.
Now you got something to beat for next time.
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
Yeah. It's fun having a new course, and it's also not fun having a new course.
Oh, I was wondering about that. If it's because we run the same sort of distance.
Areas. Yeah. The fun thing about when you know your course is you know what to look out for. So not just hitting like the same hills. Sometimes you can kind of psych yourself out when you know there's like a big hill coming, or you like run a little slower up a hill because you know it's really steep or stuff like that. But on the new one, you don't really know what you're doing or what you're like what's coming up next.
Yeah.
So like it was kind of fun when we would hit like a bridge, or you'd see like a cool view of the river. And like we ran over an overpass once, so it's just kind of fun seeing new things. The hard part of it being a new path is you have no real sense of mileage. So you're really relying on the mile marker signs, which were not accurate. So I was just kind of checking my phone a lot I also like to check my phone to make sure my pace is good. I use that a lot. I don't want to drop like too low on the pace. I don't know.
You had fun overall?
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it. I feel
The
like
upper half marathon. Great job, Julie Burnett. Great job, ladies. Congratulations. These guys are fast. Go. Make sure you give them a big round of applause, guys. Show some love out there. Third place for the men's half marathon. Men's half marathon. Third place is Maxwell Cunningham. That's third place, Maxwell Cunningham. When you hear your name, come on up. Second place, Tanner Hardy. That's second place, Tanner.